Lesson number 5, we're going to learn about 16th notes and 16th rests. Now, a 16th note is a quarter note with 2 flags attached to it. And when 16th notes are grouped together, they're going to be connected with 2 beams across the top. Now, they're played twice as fast as 8th notes, and you would count them 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, like that. So you've got 4 16th notes in the space of 1 quarter note. And we're going to look at our grid here again. Here are quarter notes, 2 8th notes to a quarter, and 4 16th notes for each quarter note here when you're counting. So I'm going to play the first exercise on page 31, and I'm going to use the same trick we use with quarters and eighths to play our first group of 16th notes. You'll play a measure of 8th notes with your right hand, and then drop your left hand in between the 8ths to make the 16ths. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So you got 4 16ths to each quarter. Now we've got a few 8th, 16th combinations to play. Here's exercise number 1. 1, 2. 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and. Now, I'm going to skip down to exercise number 3. It's in 3/4 time, but it also has what we call a first and second ending, which we explained in the news flash on this page. And what you use first and second endings for is sometimes in a piece of music, almost all of it will be the same except for the phrase at the very end. So we use a first and a second ending so you don't have to rewrite the whole piece of music. And what we're going to do in exercise number 3, we'll play measures 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we'll go back to the beginning and play measures 1, 2, 3, and 5, the second ending. So here is exercise number 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 1 E and a 2 and 3. There's your first and second ending. Now, let's go on to exercises 5 and 6. And both of these have 2-bar repeat measures in them like you've seen before. They also have groups of just 2 16th notes as well that you need to watch for. So here we go with exercise number 5. 1, 2. 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and 1 and 2 E and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 and a 2 and a 1. Okay, now we'll go on to exercise number 6. 1, 2. 1 and 2 E and a 1 E and 2 and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 E and 2 and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 and a 2 E and 1 and 2 E and a 1 and a 2 E and. So there are some groups of 4 16ths and 2 16ths. Now we're going to incorporate 16th rest. 16th rests go by really, really fast. So what we're going to do, we're going to show you some rhythms. We're going to use a little common sense here. And we're going to combine a 16th note and a 16th rest into a single 8th note. And this is something you'll see with drum music a lot. You won't see a bunch of notes and rests. They'll always try to make the music look as simple as they can. So what we have here is measures 1 and 2 will sound the same as measures 3 and 4, but their measures 3 and 4 are written a little more commonsensically. So here we go, exercises 1 and 2, and I'm going to play them really slowly without a click. Here we go, here's exercise number 1. 1, 2. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and. Okay, here is exercise number 2. 1, 2. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1. you can see how we're simplifying the rhythms by eliminating the rest and combining 16th notes and 16th rest into a single 8th note. Now, in exercise 3, the rhythm in measures 3 and 4 places an 8th note on the E, or the second 16th of a group of 4. And this is called a syncopation. So measures 3 and 4 will still sound the same as measures 1 and 2, just written differently. So here we go, exercise number 3, very slowly. Here we go. 1, 2. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E, a 2 E, a 1 E, a 2 E, a 1. And that's a nice little syncopated rhythm right there. Now we'll go to exercise number 4, and all of the notes are every other 16th note and all with the left hand. For starters, to make this flow, we're going to use our little trick, play your right hand in the air where all of the rests fall. So here's exercise number 4, very slowly without a click. 1, 2. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E, a 2 E, a 1 E, a 2 E, a 1. And again, we're combining 16th notes and 16th rest into a single 8th note to make the rhythm easier to read. Now, exercise number 5 is simply a 1 E and 2 E and rhythm, but we're going to drop the notes that are on beat. So again, when learning this pattern, play your right hand in the air on every beat. Here we go, exercise number 5, very slowly without a click. Here we go. 1, 2. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and. Great little trick, that right hand in the air when you're learning rhythms like this. Now I'll skip down to exercise number 8. In this exercise, measures 2, 5, and 6 have flowing 16th notes, leaving out the strokes on beats 1 or 2. I mentioned in the 8th note section you should start seeing groups of notes that you recognize as a rhythm pattern, and that's exactly what you need to do with measures 2, 5, and 6. So here's exercise number 8, again without a click, and I'll go real slow for you. Here we go, number 8. 1, 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 E and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 E and a 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and. Okay, now we're going to go over and get into some 8th note, 16th note combinations. We're also going to introduce what's called a check pattern. Now, in these exercises, the check pattern is a full measure of 16th notes. And you use a check pattern to keep a constant flow of notes in your head. So in exercises 1 through 8, you'll play measure 1, the check pattern, then measure 2, then you go back and play measure 1, the check pattern again, then measure 3. Then repeat that whole sequence. To get you further along in seeing groups of notes and patterns, I'm going to play these exercises, and I'm not going to count any 16th rhythms anymore. So here I'm going to start with exercise number 3, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now, here is exercise number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now I'll go down to exercise number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now, exercise number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you go, a bunch of exercises with check patterns, and you might even want to make up some of your own rhythms and practice them using a check pattern. So we'll move ahead now, and in the 8th note section, we learn dotted half and dotted quarter notes. Now we're going to learn a dotted eighth note. And the rule is the same. You put a dot after a note, and that increases its value by half. So basically what you're going to have, a dotted eighth note is equal in duration to 3 16th notes. And if you look at the news flash at the top of page 34, you're going to see 3 ways of writing the same rhythm. Now, the first way is the most common way a drummer is going to see this rhythm. The other 2 are combinations of notes and rests. They give you the same exact rhythm, it's just a different way to write it. Now, I'm going to play exercise number 1, and the first 3 measures sound exactly the same, but they're written differently. So here we go with a dotted eighth note rhythm, and again, very slow, no click. Here's exercise number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4. 1, a 2, 3, a 4. 1, a 2, 3, a 4. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Okay, now we're going to go down to exercise number 4. Again, no click, very slow. Here we go, and this is in 3/4. 1, 2, 3. 1 E and a 2, a 3, and 1 E and a 2, a 3, and 1 E and a 2, a 3, and 1, a 2, a 3. So there are some simple dotted eighth note rhythms. Now play exercise number 6, which includes dotted half, dotted quarter, and dotted eighth notes. So here we go, exercise number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's a nice combination of all your dotted rhythms. Now we have one more thing on page 35 is the accent review. And this is basically just a bunch of running 16th notes with some accents. But I also want you to revisit the different stroke types that were covered by my esteemed partner, Big Croc, in lesson 4. I'll play all 4 lines as one exercise. Also, if you play these 4 lines as one exercise, don't miss that line 3 is in 2/4 time and that line 4 is in 3/4 time. The quarter note stays constant throughout the exercises. So here is the accent review. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you have the accent review. And don't forget, in the addendums, we've got lots more cool stuff for you to practice. Lots of accent pattern stuff, dotted note stuff, 16th note rhythms. Anything you need, if you need more of it, go to the addendum and practice that stuff, and practice lots. Practice with the groove tracks, have lots of fun, you'll play better, you'll want to practice more, and just play, practice, and have lots of fun.